Okay, welcome everybody to Living Chassidus, our kickoff, our life skill series this year. Can you hear the excitement? Okay, so I want to give an introduction to life skill series. We at Living Chassidus care so much about our members that we want to give them the best information earlier on. That's my shirt. Earlier on. And I want them to have all this information and they can be prepared for life. And many times that life comes at you very quickly, whether it's as soon as you're engaged or whether it's as soon as you start making big life moves. And many of them also have to do with marriage. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to give this information to our members even when they're still single. That way they can be prepared, and now's the time when they can think about it, they can process it, they can do their own research and settle with the information. Now, the first month of life skills this year is going to have to do is to the topic of self-care, whether it's immune system, whether it's healthy eating, and healthy in quotations because there are different matters of health for every single body. So we're going to have actually two different speakers that are going to talk about quote unquote healthy eating and their perspective of it. And the next month after that, we're going to do more topics on the topic of expansion. So one is pregnancy. We're going to have midwives. We're going to have Sarah Hannah's going to be back B'ezras Hashem to discuss birth again and feeding our baby, breastfeeding, all of these good things. So just a heads up about what's coming over the next few months, and then we'll see as it continues. We'll see how it evolves. Tonight we have the great schus to have one of my best friends. Her name is Naomi Schleifer, and we go all the way back. I'm not going to go how long, but to the mountains of Tzfas. She is an incredible mother, an incredible friend, the most amazing cook. I always say I wish I were her kid in her house eating her dinners every night. Contrary to, anyway. And she also is going to teach us a bit about elderberry syrup as a whole, what it is, what it does, and how to make it. So here she is.
Woo-hoo! Get a look at that beautiful crowd out there. Okay. Now that one more person showed up, I'm gonna put my glasses back on. Let's do the wave. She's making me feel better because I made a really yummy dinner. Oh, they're gonna do the wave. Okay, start. Okay. That's awesome. My kids were not impressed with my dinner tonight, and I was like, fine, I'll give it to the neighbors. And Michal's like, I wish I was your neighbor. Okay. Yes. Okay, so here's the thing. I cooked everything this morning and separated it out this afternoon. And I originally had planned to strain it in front of you guys so you guys could watch me drip it everywhere and laborious and be like, oops, oh no, I need a garbage can. And then I was like, maybe I had better to not do that. So what I'm going to be doing more of is talking about the process, the ideas, the benefits. So I always refer to it as elderberry syrup. I like to say maybe it's because I'm not a snob, or maybe it's because I am a snob, because everybody else refers to it as sambucus. Why is that? Because the scientific name for elderberries, the short name, is sambucus, but it's Sambucus ebulus. Okay, so this is from Mountain Rose Herbs. Mountain Rose Herbs is Earth Cake kosher. It's a very good hechsher. But I don't just put elderberries in my elderberry syrup. I also use rose hips. Rose hips, if we're just going to start, we'll just start from the talking points because they're just that good. Okay. Elderberries are very high in vitamins A, B, C, and potassium. And you want to say, oh, rose hips are also high in vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin E, and vitamin K, except for rose hips are 710% of your daily value of vitamin C. You'll find them in your teas because they flavor your teas. They have a nice tardiness. It's very robust flavor. So I always put it in mine because I'm like, if we're doing a immune boosting with which both of these are, why not just throw in like a whole load of like extra vitamin C? Taking a video of me. I was like, she's taking a lot of pictures. Okay. They are full of antioxidants. They are elderberries are immune boosting. They're good for your digestion, actually. Good for your health, your gastrointestinal health, and alleviates coughs and promotes good breathing. So even if someone has had a cough, so today I was like laughing because I was like, oh, good thing I'm making it. Like seriously, because you can take it as a preventative, and a person could take it while they are not feeling well, chas v'shalom, as well, and it can help a person get over it faster. Remember, I made it for a friend. Twice I've given it to friends who like got sick with the flu when they were expecting, and they're like, I can't give birth. Well, like I'm not feeling well. And I'm like, here, drink this. And like, it's just, my husband started making something else that he refers to as a flu shot. So like this is like a flu shot. This delicious darkness. You guys are so lucky you get to drink some. Okay. Because it's so yummy. And it's the store-bought stuff is it's actually pretty good. You can get some good stuff that's organic, it's non-GMO. They will use like natural, they'll use like unprocessed raw honey, all this type of stuff. Oh, I forgot to bring my honey bottle. I get a quick side point about honey. I use honey for this. You could technically use agave. I think it might be too intense. You don't have to use so much. If it's just for yourself and you just need a little sweetness, it's very, very tart. So if you can manage without it, I need it to like get my kids to take it. And so for this size jar, there was this much honey in there, and the rest is elderberry syrup. I would say you could use maple too. If you could use the later maple syrup, the darker maple syrup, that also has greater properties than the lighter maple syrup. That's drawn later in the season. So it has, and I also like, if you can get your hands on it, if you could afford to get like the organic, the non-GMO stuff, it's just all around, then you can be like, I'm doing a lot of really good stuff for my body. Back to honey. If you're going to use honey, just make sure that you look on your bottle and see where it says it's sourced from. If it doesn't say where it's sourced from, it means it's coming from China, and they don't have the same type of regulations that other places do. So my Kirkland honey is not organic because they have been out of the organic stuff for a really long time, but it's sourced from Argentina. So I'm like, okay, I know where it's coming from. Like it's coming from like, not China. I'm not anti-Chinese. It just, they have different regulations when it comes to their food than I do. Okay. So what do we do with these fabulous little dried out berries? These beautiful little berries. You open them up. You want to come take it and you can smell it? Okay. So you can get them from Amazon. I highly, highly recommend that you get them from Mountain Rose Herbs. And if you can find somebody else who, I don't remember what size this is. This is a 1 pound bag. So 1 pound bag, I was actually just looking today. If you want to get a 4 ounce bag, which will make you enough for both of these, if you get a 4 ounce bag of both of these together, it's $15. The shipping is more. The original recipe calls for a half a cup of each, and it will last you by yourself the entire winter and beyond. I highly suggest that you get it from Mountain Rose Herbs because they're very transparent company about where their stuff is sourced from and that it's very high quality. You can get it from Amazon, but you can't really guarantee 100%. Hello. You can't 100% guarantee how straightforward and honest they are, unless you're finding a company that you can find on another website and say, oh, like Navitas Naturals sells a lot of their stuff on Amazon. So if you can find it from Amazon, it's going to get shipped faster. I haven't ordered for a while Mountain Rose Herbs because, as you see, I buy it by the pound and I keep it in the freezer. It'll last you years. Any of this stuff, you need any type of herbs there. They have every type of herb you could possibly want. A Mountain Rose Herbs, I'm a big fan. I also, I don't know if I said this already. I suggest that if you join with somebody else with an order, it's more worthwhile because their shipping is pretty expensive. So for like,
join with anyone who's ordering.
I'm already starting to make another order because I'm like, oh no, I'm out of rose hips. Okay. my upstairs neighbor was like, was that the smell I was smelling in the hall? And I was like, yes, it was. I got lots of it. Okay. So I did for my recipe, Michal's going to put it on the chat later. The original recipe is half a cup of the elderberries, half a cup of the rose hips, and 2.5 cups of water. And I doubled it because it's just easier to do it in one shot. I use a really, really, really big pot because if you turn your back for 1 second while you're warming it up, this thing will bubble all over the place. So you're less likely, if it's only filled up to here, that you're not going to explode all over the place. So there's something about this combination that bubbles up and froths over. You just have to keep turning it down and down and down and down and down. You bring it up to boil, and then you want to turn it down to simmer, a low simmer, because it will really be bubbling for 45 minutes with the lid on, because you don't want to lose any of that precious water that's in there, because that's what's soaking up all that fabulous stuff from there. I left out the recipe I usually do. You could put in a little bit of cinnamon sticks and cloves and a little bit of ginger. I tend to leave that out because I like it, but I have a kid who doesn't like cinnamon and kids who are sensitive to ginger. So I really want them to drink it. So I just leave that stuff out. So it sits for 45 minutes and you get a clean bowl and a fine mesh strainer like this. Where's the camera? And I'll stick it right in the camera. Okay.
Wait, it sits after you boil it?
You want to set it and let it cool. You don't have to, but you want to wait before you mix it with the honey.
Okay.
Um,
And how do you know when it's done boiling?
So you're just
45 minutes.
The herbs and
boil
the
it
water.
for 45 minutes?
Boil it for 45 minutes and then it's done. Yeah.
So you just do this in water and then you add the sweetener later,
Add the sweetener later.
and you put it to boiling and then you put it on simmer.
Put it on simmer. And you can really walk away from it when it's on the simmer, but I mean like a low simmer. You don't want this thing like it's just like this strange thing that it just like, sometimes you're doing soup and you're like, oh, it was just simmering a second ago and it's just like barely simmering. This stuff is like actively simmering, even if you have it like on the lowest flame possible. It's very interesting qualities. You don't have to babysit it, but you have to make sure that it's not going to start frothing over if you don't have a big pot. Okay, so after it's cooled, you get a nice big bowl. You have your fine mesh strainer and you slowly are pouring it in, pretend that there's stuff in here, and then taking the back of a spoon and mama smushing it out. What will happen on the bottom is you'll get some of the really good thick stuff from the elderberries, and you want to scrape that off and like get it into the bowl. So otherwise that stuff just ends up in the garbage. I did consider taking the leftovers. I didn't have mental space to do this, but I was like, maybe I should take this and turn it into a jam. And then I was like, I'm not going to do that right now. And I didn't have the mental space to like, only while I was like throwing in the garbage, I was like, okay, next time. Yeah, so you're scraping it down, doing a little bit of time. So it's very laborious to like really, if you're feeling really more hands-on, you could put on gloves and you could put it through muslin and then gather up the muslin. If you think of muslin, it's like cheesecloth that you use like on Pesach for sugar, and you can like really squeeze it out. That's also an option. Just know that if you get it on your clothes, it will probably ruin your clothes if you don't soak it right away.
So to get berries out of clothing, you boil it with a little bit of vinegar in it.
You hear that? To get berries out of clothes, you boil it with a little bit of vinegar. All right,
Just
note that down.
for the rest of your clothes.
Yep. Okay, so after it is sat and it is cooled, you can add in your honey and mix it up. And then you have this beautiful jar. You see how thick that is?
I see the love.
You see the love. I made it on my milchig side. Why? Because generally I remember to give it by breakfast. Sometimes I will encourage, who wants to pour some over some plain yogurt? I do. Who wants some over their steel cut oats? I do. And then it's like, ugh, like I'm getting away with something, but I'm not, because they like it. I don't have to like those little plungers that come with like the baby medicine. They like stand in a row and I go, like they all just stand in the line. They're like, more. And like, they love it. And I actually don't really make it so sweet. You could, I don't know if I said this before, you could probably get away without sweetening it, but for yourself, it's very tart. Very tart. So like the souriest, tartiest, but you're like, good for me. Like you don't have to do that. Yeah. Here's the thing. If you want to use honey, you were asking about maple syrup. Maple syrup works. Maple syrup, I'm trying to remember, is low glycemic? Can be low. Okay. Monk fruit. You remember xylitol? Remember there used to be xylitol, like natural xylitol from like bark certain trees. Yet don't use that even though it's from trees because too much and you don't. You want to do nice stuff to yourself. Okay. The other things I wanted to talk about was you will see that it's a lot. So see how Rosehips, like it's in Rosehips is this backwards. Okay, whatever. Rosehips are in a lot of tea. They're in a lot to flavor things and give them like a nice robust flavor. You want to hand me the cups and I'll pour you guys some. Everybody's been waiting. You bought what? Shot glasses. I said we should be drinking this out of shot glasses. By the way, why would you want to do this when you can get it from the store? And it's still fairly high quality if you're getting it from the store, because this little jar probably cost me about $1.50. And I'm not talking about the glass. I'm talking about the stuff inside. A jar that is about an ounce from the store is going to take you about $15. Mm-hmm. So I can spend $15 just on the berries and the rose hips alone. And that will last me 4 winters. And that doesn't include, I'm not even talking about the amounts that I give away to friends. Woo, woo. Okay.
Where do you store it?
In the refrigerator. You have to store it in the refrigerator.
Like in the back, like at risk of getting frozen?
Yeah, I wouldn't store it in the back, but I would store it on the top shelf. It says 3 months. I've had it go longer. I've also had some weird stuff happen with like adding it in and then it turns into like a jam in the refrigerator. It's a very interesting, like I'll be like, look, and I'll like have to take it out every day and like leave it on the counter so my kids don't see, and they'll be like, ew, that's so gross. I'm like, it's actually really fabulous. It just looks really gross. That's very smart. Okay. So it's
How much do you have a day?
It's suggested you have like 3 or 4 tablespoons a day, especially where like, you know, I was laughing because my whole family was sick last week. So I'm like a little bit late on making it. But thanks to Michal, we now have it. When a person is not feeling well, chas v'shalom, they should increase. You can really take it as you feel. For me, that means I only remember to take it when my kids are like, hey, we didn't have that stuff. I remember when you made this stuff last year. This stuff was really good. Can we have some right now? Remember when you gave it to us in those things?
Oh my gosh. It's so good.
This is like wellness. You taste the honey and it's not even that, it's really not that much honey. I actually was like,
That's what you sweeten this with?
I sweeten it with honey.
Very, very, very sweet.
Baruch Hashem. And it's not even that much honey. It's this much honey in here. So if you think about it, you should be making it yourself because it's very worthwhile. It's only $8.21. I wanted to also mention about the rose hips. Elderberries like grow on their own plant as well as rose hips. So rose hips are the berries that are left over after the flowers fall off. Isn't that cool? I don't know why I thought that was so cool.
Rosehips comes from elderberry tree?
No. Rosehip and elderberry, they're totally different plants. But the elderberry tree, it's like they have the berries with the bush and it's like its own plant. Whereas the rosehip grows where the rose has fallen off and then you get this fruit. And it dries up and when it's dried, it's very, very small. You wouldn't imagine it's like this nice round little red berry.
So you boiled the rosehip in with the elderberry.
Correct.
Okay.
And then they're dried. So they rehydrate and you really get all this really fabulous stuff. If you have any questions about, hi, Rivki Dubra. Except it's not Rivki, it's your son. Hi. Oh, and they turn the video off. Hi. I'm a total creeper. Hi, Dubra family. I see you. Okay. I was actually just reading up about rose hips, and rose hips, what's amazing about rose hips that elderberries do not have is rose hips are really good for heart health. It's really good for your actual full body circulation. So I know, so I was like, I should be giving this to Maish because it actually is good for blood pressure, but it did have a warning that said like, consult your doctor if you're on blood pressure medication. Okay. Rose hips, I can't speak. Everyone loves elderberries because of that. They're so great, but combining these two powerhouses, it just makes your life better, so much better. I know like it could have been very interesting if like I had cooked it in front of you guys. You guys just watched me mix it for 45 minutes straight. But does anyone have any questions? Michal, anyone have any questions? You did.
What was your question before?
How often can you daily? Take it daily. You can take it a few times a day if you remember. I'm not good at that type of stuff. I'm not good at remembering to take
So
stuff.
here's what I like.
What?
I like putting it in, yeah, I like putting either in tea or I like putting it in my yogurt,
Yep.
which now I'm gone into kefir, so
Yeah.
this is a great mix.
That's a great mix.
And I like putting it in my smoothies. So instead of putting a date, I usually put this syrup in it.
I wonder if you could mix it with a date.
Boil the date, yeah. You boil the date and then you get
Yeah.
you strain it with everything.
Oh, interesting.
I think you would still have to
I put a date
zhuzh.
in my oats instead of sweetener.
Yes, me too.
I just put,
It's delicious.
I don't put anything on my oats.
I put date and apple.
Oh, I put apple this morning and almond
Ooh,
butter.
this would be really good in oats.
Yes, it would.
Yum.
Yes, that's how
I don't know
I.
if they can hear our ideas.
So people were talking about putting it with their kefir, with the plain yogurt, with oats in the morning. Oats, woo woo! If I can do a plug for, I'm a big fan of steel cut oats.
Why?
Steel cut oats are high in iron, but they're not processed at all.
So how much
It's
more
the-
cooking does it need?
So you can get quick cooking steel cut oats, and it takes 7 minutes to boil, and then you cover it for 2 minutes, and like it's really ready. You have to be prepared though, because it's not mush. It has a little bit more texture to it, and it takes a little bit to get used to it. But my kids are used to it. Like I had to convince them, like, no, it's really good.
If you leave it for longer, will it become mush?
Yeah,
Okay, so
I mean, I'm sure you could.
this does it inside.
It just does it inside of you for you. You have to chew it a little bit. No, but we make like a bar out of it. Like we put like nuts and seeds on it and almond butter and dried this and dried that. Today I didn't have any of my like dried blueberries from Costco, so I cut up like a little bit of a crisp apple and some almond butter and hemp seeds and
Wait, so you make that into a bar?
like a bar, like a food bar. Like you're like, I want a little bit of this and I want a little bit of this. No,
That's so cool.
I would be really cool if I did that.
Together with elderberry syrup.
Glue it together with elderberry syrup. Okay.
Flax seeds and hemp seeds, so.
I have the flax seeds, but I'm always like, I have no way to grind them up fresh.
So question,
Yes.
the amount that you made
Yes.
today?
Yeah.
Today, was this,
I don't have one.
this
Yeah.
jar, or you got more and you left it at home?
I left the rest at home.
Okay, how many jars does that make?
I made 5 cups today of water. I doubled the recipe, so I used 1 cup each of elderberry and rosehip, and since I doubled it instead of 2.5, it was 5 cups. So I only had 1 of these jars available at home, and I put it in a glass bowl. To keep it longer, it must be stored in glass. You cannot store in plastic. The plastic will ruin the taste of it, and it also won't last as long. It just won't. That's just like a matter of fact with glass. Glass makes everything last longer. Like glass takes in the flavor, but doesn't really give out flavor when it's cold. So yeah, you really have to store it in glass. I'm trying to think because the bowl is not like this. So I think I made like 5 of these jars.
Oh, wow.
Can
So,
you-
yeah, so the amount of work,
It's very minimal. The only amount of work you're really doing is when you put it in the mass strainer and you're pushing it down with the back of the spoon. That's the only work you're really doing. Really,
not burning it.
and not burning
What
it.
would happen if you just don't strain it?
You can have a really chewy experience. And I'm not really sure how rose hips. Also, you'll be like, ow. As you're pouring it into the thing, you're like, that's a twig. Yes, there are, where did they go? There's twigs in there. There's twigs in the elderberries. That's how you know it's good, people.
Real deal.
It's a real deal. What's the name of the berries you buy from Amazon? They're all called elderberry. elder, think of your elders and a berry.
Specifically from one farm?
I buy it from mountainroseherbs.com. I don't buy from Amazon. I buy everything else from Amazon. Hmm?
What would be a qualifying factor so that it's not in another place?
If they were going to find it from Amazon, I would say you have to research that company and make sure it's a legitimate company who has actual rights to say this is non-GMO, this is organic, this is where it's sourced from. On Mountain Rose Herbs, you can see where every single, they don't necessarily do it on the bags, but you, because it changes sometimes, hello. And they will tell you exactly where it's sourced from. It can change, like say there's a drought in this place, God forbid, or whatever, then they have to change where their items are sourced from.
What's it called?
But yeah, I trust Mountain Rose Herbs, and the price is just as good, if not better, than Amazon, because Amazon knows everybody's obsessed with Amazon. I shop there all the time. So the prices can be much more expensive on Amazon actually than other places. So like I said, the 4-ounce bag of the elderberries was together, it came to $15. I don't even remember if that included the tax or not. And that's a pretty good price. You're going to say like a pound of this was $15 by itself. On Amazon, it was $25 for a pound. And you don't really know, you can't really know because Amazon is not enforcing quality control. That's not their job. Anybody else? Do I tap here to see if there's questions? Oh, there's 6 questions. What did I do? It's not an iPhone. I don't know what I'm doing. I literally have nightmares that someone hands me a phone and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm trying to call someone and I can't. The ingredients will be posted because I sent them to Michal. They will be posted. Can you freeze? I would say you could try freezing. You could freeze, believe it or not, you can freeze in glass, but you have to give yourself an inch of error so it doesn't explode. You can freeze lots of stuff. Would you reboil it?
Like while you're cooking your oatmeal.
Oh, like say you want to scoop some out. I don't think it's gonna scoop out so easily.
No. 2 separate questions.
Oh,
Finish the freeze. Connie's question is about reboiling, right?
I wouldn't necessarily see reboiling. I would just leave it out and let it defrost.
Yeah.
Separate. Finish the
Just in
freeze.
general.
Can you freeze it?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What are to defrost it? What do? You just
leave it on the
out?
counter.
Okay, great.
Leave it on the counter, crack it open. Don't let it be so tight. You don't, also when you put things like in a glass jar to freeze, it needs to not be on tight. You can leave it like this. I would say you could freeze in plastic just because it's not so influenced, but like Mama's put it in the back of the freezer.
Okay. Second
Can I
question.
put it
There we
in
go.
my oatmeal when I need to cook my oatmeal, or
No.
should I specifically put it in when?
When it's done, it's served in your bowl. You're ready to put any other toppings you like on and pour that elderberry syrup on. Otherwise, you're just going to lose it. You're going to lose it in like the steaming, like that type of stuff. Can you eat elderberries by itself? I have never seen non-dried elderberries. I don't know everything, so I'm sure you could. You can't. They're like too concentrated. It's like too much. It's too much. You have to just give me, I meant to print that out. Some people can,
You're showing us the beautiful Russian.
yeah, the empty rose hip. What's it called? I'm only pulling up my phone just because I want to, if a person is never, you probably have had rose hip in your life. You just have to like be careful because it can cause some people stomach aches. If eaten rose hip, if it's eaten too much of it. It's for everything. It's good for everything. Wait, there were more questions?
No.
Okay,
But I have a question for you.
yes,
Um.
speak into the microphone.
Hello, everyone. My question is. Now I forgot about it.
Do I sell it? No.
Oh, no. Can you read out loud the recipe for anyone who doesn't have my phone?
Sure. I will read it out and then we will figure out. Now, this is a little side tip that has nothing to do with elderberry syrup. This is a recipe I found. Well, I will look in my email from 2013. So when I find something I like, I email myself the link and I email myself the recipe inside with the link. You can't really see it. There we go. So that if sometimes blogs disappear, I've had it happen. I go to pull it up and I'm like, no, like my life was literally ruined. It was like, I cannot recall what was there. I just remember I liked it. Okay, so that's a tip from me to you. Elderberry and rosehip syrup, a half a cup of dried elderberries, a half a cup of dried rosehips, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon chips, 6 dried whole cloves, 1-inch chunk of fresh ginger peeled, grated, and minced. I never did that. I think I just put it in peeled in the chunk. 2.5 cups of filtered water. That is really important.
2.5 cups for just elderberry. Should I do 2.5 cups?
With the mix.
Let's say I just do elderberry. Our rose hips.
I think I would reduce it by half a cup. Just do 2 cups.
Okay.
You want more?
If I just do.
Oh yeah. Okay. We'll say l'chaim. Oh, did I go through rose hips? The vitamin C in rosehip is 710% of your daily value. The vitamin A is 87% of your daily value. Vitamin E is 29% of your daily value. K is 32% of your daily value. Manganese is 51% of your daily value. Calcium is 17% of your daily value. Magnesium is 17%, and potassium is 12%.
This is amazing.
That's if you have
That's
4 tablespoons a day.
No.
That's based on I have it written. I have it somewhere. I'll tell you that. Hold on. That's based on per 100 grams. It's metric. Sorry, it's not helpful. Okay, just putting this on because I'm prone to knock stuff over. Okay. Okay, so what this person does in this recipe is to make it cool down faster. It actually can cool fairly fast, especially since it's winter now and it's frigid. That they put it in an ice bath so they can mix it up with the honey right away.
Do you want to mix it with the honey while it's still hot?
You really don't.
Oh, that's what I was wondering. You said dafka not to. Tell us more.
Okay, so say especially if you want to use like raw honey,
Okay.
it's going to cook the honey and then it's not raw anymore. And then you lose some of the quality of the raw honey.
Oh.
Raw honey, ask your local Orthodox
Raw
rabbi.
honey needs to be kosher. Raw honey needs to be kosher or filtered.
It needs to be filtered. Having a hechsher on it, I believe, just means that like the facility is like under kashrus, which is you have to ask. I don't think I've ever asked like if honey dafka needs a hechsher, especially if it's like if they're doing it like cold processing it, so it never gets heated up ever. But the problem with it not being filtered is like I remember buying once and I like opened the lid and I was like, there's bug pieces in here, like legs. Like that happens. Stuff gets stuck. The bees lose a leg or two in the honey, and then I don't know if it grows back. I don't know. Hashem made that the way they're supposed to be. What was the other question?
Why not? Okay, other than raw honey,
Yeah.
I guess why not? Why dafka wait till it's?
You don't want there to be like some sort of chemical reaction, like you're heating up the honey. It's going to change the consistency of the honey. I did that once and it turned into like jam. Like I literally pulled it out and I went like this and I was like, oh, it was literally like it made that sound when it came out. Like I'm like, my husband was like, I know it's good for me. And I was like, sorry. Like he was like, I'm gonna take it anyway. And I was like, you're a good man. Okay. So there's that part. As long as it's not boiling hot, you come down and like you could touch the bowl or the jar easily, then I'd say there's not a problem. Yes.
The whole process takes 45 minutes.
To cook it.
Well, yeah.
While you're doing other things.
Well,
Yeah.
I burn things, so I'm gonna sit there and watch it.
You set a timer on your phone, you set a timer on your oven. The biggest, okay. Okay.
So it's 45 minutes.
Yep.
And then after
With the
that,
lid on, you have to have the lid on or you're going to lose all the liquid. It's just going to evaporate away and you'll be left with really waterlogged berries that you can do nothing with. Yeah.
And then after that, you put it in, we wait for it to cool.
Wait for it to cool, then strain it.
Strain it with a spoon thingy, all push,
Yes.
push.
I strained it when it was like still warm just because I like wanted to like get through that stage. And I later I was like cutting up some vegetables and I opened the garbage can. I was like, why is the lid of the garbage can all wet? And I was like, oh, it's from the elderberries. They steamed up and they got the lid of the garbage can all soaking wet. Mhm.
Okay.
My house smells amazing. So does the garbage can. So no complaints.
So then after you strain it into what?
Straight into a bowl, because you're gonna need the space.
Okay.
You could strain it. You could, if you have like 2 pots like this, you could strain it into a pot. You want space so that you don't have to be like, oh no, otherwise otherwise it'll spill everywhere. It'll really spill everywhere. You know what I realized? I think the last time I did a demo, Shira Nesanoff is not on here, and she told me it was like her and her husband's favorite comedy show to watch. I have it all in my hands.
Yes.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, l'chaim to your health. I also started making. I'm soaking garlic. I'm looking at my friend who's also doing this. Garlic and
Honey?
garlic and honey.
My mom
Tell us
does
more. I've been wanting.
I also put
What's the
onion
setup?
in. Yeah, you keep flipping it, and then when it's all like, it goes from being like thick to like super runny. You're like, it's done.
Wait, how long does it take? Tell us more.
I don't remember.
So it's like every day.
It's just sitting in the cabinet.
Yeah.
So you put it in there.
Yeah, but then eventually when it turns to liquid,
Yes. Tell us more.
you take a jar like this. And you take, I don't know how much you take. You take, Shannon does it now. She would think that's fine too.
know.
Because we used to do that with Shanna. Woohoo! Okay. Shanna Balkan is speaking. I mean,
Yes.
not here. She's speaking from Texas.
Zoom with Sheena next.
Yay. Shayna is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just kind of, I remember years ago seeing Sarah Hannah Silverstein actually doing this. You know, she used to do like go on morning shows like all the time.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes,
So
yes.
she was talking about how it's a very good cold and flu prevention.
Yes.
Like I know this guy, this family we used to eat by when my husband and I were first married, he used to keep cloves of garlic on the table and just would be like, do it. Very, very Russian. Along with like the herring and beer to wash down all that salt. Good. No, I like herring. Don't get me wrong, I love herring and beer. And you what? Bikva? It's called kvass, just like chewing it up.
No, the beer.
Oh, the beer. Okay, I'm behind the times. Sorry. You literally just take like a whole clove of garlic, chew it like 5 or 6 times, enough to like swallow it. It's not actually as spicy as you think, and swallow it. But just give it a nice chew because you want to like give your stomach like a little bit of a chance to like be able to break it down.
Even though I cut it smooth.
You do you, girl.
Okay.
I feel like that's just like spicier. I don't know. So I could not find actually Sarah Khanna's original video or the recipe. So I kind of just like, I like garlic and I like onion. I took like an onion like this. We're talking like, when I do this, I mean like the inside of my hand. So like a piece of onion, cut it into fourths, put it in the jar. We're talking a jar this size that is 2 cups.
After you chew the garlic.
That's another time if I'm just trying to freak out guests at my table. Then I will take like 6 or 8 cloves of garlic and throw them in and then cover it with honey, seal it up, keep it on the jar. It's better to do raw. Right now I don't have raw honey because Costco's been out. Benzies.
Even though I don't English.
But
Benzies has like every type of honey. Yeah. Whole Foods, if you have people, they started charging for delivery, but some of their stuff is like really worth it.
Trader doing that. Raw honey. I look at my provider.
Seasonal maybe. Oh.
I don't
Uh-huh.
have the items. It helps me to shop for people. I get to know what they have.
Okay, fine. So now I'm just looking for raw honey. Fine. So basically you take in the 2-cup jar, you put onion. I'm sure you peel it. Do you cut off the end?
You don't do a whole, you do like a piece.
A piece.
I
Okay.
put a whole one in, but it's a small one.
Got it.
I feel like I'm in cahoots with everybody at home.
And then you pour.
A few cloves of garlic, you pour the honey on to cover it. But the fun part is
And then what?
it floats to the top. So you're like, no, stay covered. No, stay covered. No, stop. No. And so like you do want to flip it around a little bit just to like get it to mix up.
How long does it take?
It takes, I would say like it takes like a week to let out all of its juices. And all of a sudden you lift it up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like liquidy like this. It's like moving around like crazy.
Even the raw honey moves around like crazy?
Yeah, because this, whatever is in the garlic and the onion, like, by the way, I realized mine didn't go bad. My kids just don't like the taste of it.
That's hilarious.
I put it in salads when I have guests. I'm like, hey, you guys are eating like
Deliciousness. Okay.
Yeah, then I just put a little bit in just because I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I know it's good for people, so I just throw. I'm talking like a tablespoon for a salad for like 8 adults.
And then how do you use it after other than salad?
You could put it, take a scoop. You could put it in your
Put it in your
tea.
mouth?
Put it in your mouth.
Okay. Do you eat the actual,
No.
you leave
I mean, you could eat it if you want to, but I
I'm
don't.
saying you leave the garlic and onion inside.
I strain it out after a little bit, just so like it stops. You don't want to like. It's weird. It's like you ever boil a pot of chicken soup for 24 hours and then try to eat those vegetables?
Yum.
No. I'm talking about like you've cooked them so much the vegetables have no flavors left.
Oh,
That's what this is. That's what this is like. There's nothing. Yep, Ariella is nodding her head. There's nothing left of the garlic and the onion except for like the texture of it, which could be awesome. But I'm like tomatoes.
Mashed potatoes by then.
Oh yeah, it's mashed potatoes by then. Oh, I have another trick on something
Okay,
else.
fine. So you take those out.
Yeah.
And then you put the honey.
I just-
wherever.
I keep it on the counter. My way of remembering to do stuff is to keep it on the counter. My husband has like all of his trays of like his vitamins, and he remembers to take them. I don't remember to take anything unless it's like right in front of my face. You don't want to keep it. You really don't want to keep it next to where you cook. You don't want to like keep it in like a hot area.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, you don't have to keep it in the refrigerator. I really don't think you do, because it like has its own.
Honey does not go bad.
Doesn't go bad. Your kids will be like, this tastes bad. You're like, because it was soaking with onion. But it's good stuff. It's really good stuff for you. Yeah, I actually put it in a tea for one of my kids, and like, this tea tastes bad. I'm like, sure, I'll go make it. This time without the honey in it. My kids are used to tea with no honey. I don't put anything in my in tea. I trained my husband out of that. I'm like, real tea drinkers don't put anything in their tea. It's just tea. But I like a nice strong tea. I like it steeping for at least 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
I like a nice strong tea. No, I'm joking. Like I like drink. I never take the tea bag out until I like finish my cup and then I throw it away. Which is funny because my parents like save their tea bags for like 4 cups of tea, and I'm like, I am not that person. I spend a lot of money on a lot of tea. My guests are like, what do you have this time, Naomi? I'm like, I don't know. Go look. Yeah. And my kids are also like, can I make myself tea? You have throat coat?
So cute.
We like throat coat. Okay.
Naomi, do you?
Okay. Well, I was talking about my kids insulting my cooking tonight. I made mashed potatoes, but one trick that I learned with mashed potatoes, you take an onion and you boil it with the mashed potatoes and then you zhuzh it up and flavor in your mouth.
Wow.
So good. And then with the zhuzher, and it's like that perfect. Oh, Ariella, I see that funny face you're making. It's really good.
It's like potato kugel.
It's like potato kugel, but it's mushy. And it's meant to be
We
mushy.
usually just
Very
saute
good.
onions and then put those in.
My chicken burgers tonight, and I made such a good dinner, and they were just like, ew, it looks so gross. You never make this. I didn't like it the last time. I'm like, actually, the last 20 times I made this, you love it. So I always use white type of vegetables in my veggie burgers because it amps up the flavor. White.
Specific, like cauliflower.
No. So I actually don't use cauliflower. I don't usually buy cauliflower so much. I put in onions, I put in celery, and I put in zucchini because it adds an intense amount of fabulous flavor while being like, oh, I'm not just eating chicken, I'm also eating some vegetables. But celery is also an aromatic, like onions and garlic are an aromatic. So if you like, when you cook things, you want to saute your celery. Celery is not just for tuna.
Whoa. You saute celery?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's massive amounts of flavor. It's referred to as an aromatic. It's like onions and garlic.
I hate celery. I guess I've never
No,
sauteed it.
Cooked.
Get good celery.
You got to get good celery.
Organic celery.
Organic. Just you can go right down to, I know you don't, but send your husband down to, what's it called? Marketplace. Marketplace sells almost every single thing you could possibly imagine organic,
Elderberries.
except for elderberries. If we pestered them enough, they might, but
Oh, let's do it.
we could, but they'll be like, why? You guys could just buy that from the store. You really can. You can buy sambucas from the store, but it is a fortune. It's a fortune. And after a day and a half, you're like, where's all of it? Yes. Yep. And it's an ounce. So if you give me a glass jar
Where'd you buy this?
online, I will, if you get a pen and paper, I'll tell you. mountainroseherbs.com. Ariella, are you writing this down or are you doing dishes? You're taking vitamins? Okay, good. Take your vitamins. I don't remember to, kids vitamins. You feel like your kids are not, there's, I think it's Garden of Eden. They make these chewable vitamins.
Are they full of sugar? Let's discuss this for a minute.
No.
They're made with fruit sugar. They have,
Yeah,
it's
I
just made
got
with
one.
fruit.
It's just fruit sugar. I got these vitamins.
They're
Read
fabulous.
up about it. There's no sugar, no sweeteners besides.
The only thing they put on the outside is they dust it with rice flour so they don't stick together. They still eventually stick together, but they're great. Everyone takes their vitamins.
Okay, what are they called?
I'll send you the link.
Okay, great.
I need to make myself an affiliate link on Amazon so I can make money off of you people.
It's like I need an affiliate link with the house.
You should.
Yeah.
I know we should send this to Mountain Rose Herbs and be like, make me one of your people. I'm one of your people. I'm a big fan. I know everybody likes their Amazon stuff. You cannot give that a nice smell. You smell it?
Yeah.
It's really good. You just can't, like my entire apartment smells like this now. And the hallway. Okay, nobody has any more questions? Super Mommy out. Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming. Thank you for drinking.
Thank you.
You want some more? I give you some more. You need a lot of refill. If you had a day like I had.